I I was raised and I was just taught to, you know, if you don't react, if you don't react to grief, like you're handling it good, you're handling it right.
Real stories, real people. This is how we heal, by turning our pain into power.
Welcome to How We Heal, turning pain into power. I'm your host, Daddy Magic, and today I'm sitting down with
Deff.
Tone Deff. Your full name's Anthony, right?
Anthony.
Call you
I don't
Tone.
think anybody knows that. Exclusive How We Heal information.
I was talking to one of the vendor besties, and I was like, hey, I'm a friend of Tone. And she was like, oh, I love Anthony. And I was like, Anthony?
Who calls me Anthony?
Ew.
I'm trying to figure out which one calls me Anthony. I'm gonna find out.
I'll never tell.
Yeah, I'll figure out. Anthony, man, I think my mother calls me Anthony, and if you're writing a check, I guess you got to call me Anthony.
Sure, yeah. How'd you come up with Tone?
Tone is a childhood nickname, and I think most people in my life, when I was a kid, called me Tone. And Deff, that was a joke.
Okay. All right.
Like the time in my life where I was like most struggling with stuff, I went to open mics to be uncomfortable and play music, and I was not the best singer.
Right. Oh. Oh, I see.
I
Tone
called
Deff.
myself Tone Deff.
That's
as
brilliant.
a fucking joke.
That's awesome, actually.
And it was a play on Deftones and most deaf, and
Yeah.
it kind of
That's
it
cool.
stuck.
Okay.
And you know, like I had somebody tell me, like, you know, like, love your music, but like love your photography too. And I was like, I never considered photography as like something to do. And they're like, you should explore that a little bit more.
They're like, you have a beautiful voice for photography.
I feel like it was a really nice thing that person could say. I'm not a bad singer, and I work really hard at it, but it's not my bag. You know what I mean? Like, I'm no Rachel Wong or Alana Rich or Rain Ezra, all these amazing singers in our city.
Yeah.
But, you know, I know when I'm singing wrong.
Yeah, you know, I put out an EP, and it was very, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to sing it myself.
Mm.
And it was a struggle.
Yeah.
Because I don't do that, you know.
Yeah.
But
you did it.
But I did it. And I'm actually just now like kind of revisiting that project. And I'm like, oh, this is actually really good.
I've never heard you sing.
No.
Now I've heard you sing.
I mean, you know, I'll do karaoke. My go-to is Too Hot by Kool and the Gang.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. That'd be cool.
I love that song.
We should do karaoke, man. Got to the Alibi. You ever been to the Alibi?
The Alibi, yeah. Yeah, I think I actually went there first night I met Anthony. We a bunch of us just partied like till 7 a.m. It was crazy.
After party.
We just, yeah, I think we were at a Cypher Saturday, and
the Alibi is a good.
Didn't go home for several hours after that. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it was fun. Was there a point for you when art became necessary for survival?
Day one. I feel like I grew up rural and like pretty secluded. We were like 30 minutes away from the nearest like convenience store. So like I made a lot of my own fun. Capturing moments helped me stay in the moment, and at times a chaotic life coming up. So
where'd you grow up?
North to here on the Washington side, kind of north of Camas, about 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful area.
It is. It was a beautiful, beautiful upbringing. Definitely had its benefits, but like the seclusion to being away from everything was definitely one of the drawbacks. But
Did you have the Lego camera?
the Lego camera?
Yeah.
No. I feel like I just unlocked a new point of contention from my childhood because that sounds sick,
Well, I
dude.
made, videos with my brothers, and
Yeah.
my older brother Hayden, he had like I don't know, a Lego camera.
That is so
It
rad.
was like a webcam. I don't know if it was actually made of Legos, but the shell of it was, and
Yeah.
we just
That's so cool, man.
made our home movies on that. Yeah.
That would have been perfect. That's sick. I figured out that Game Boy also had a camera. I didn't have that.
I didn't have that. Nah, that's cool. How has your pain influenced your art, and in what ways does creating serve you?
How has my pain influenced my art? I feel like pain is like something that I put into everything that I do, you know? Like where it started as an escape is now just like part of the language that fuels the art, if you will. Like the internal dialogue of my creativity, like it's channeled now, like when my pain and mental state was at its like most vulnerable. I feel like I didn't know how to channel that yet. And so like every time I get closer to like the art as a career and a lifestyle working, I feel like I also simultaneously am getting closer to like being able to channel that pain.
And in what ways does creating serve you?
Creativity serves me in that I feel like it adds like an ingredient to my life that helps things balance. You know what I mean? Like without creativity, and I do notice when I get busy with like admin tasks at my business and I'm not creating, like it is out of balance, it's out of whack. So
Yeah.
I do have to throw in like that extra creativity. Like I'll draw or paint or like something I'm bad at, but just throw that creativity back in the mix so it's not all work.
Yeah, like I noticed when I'm like studying, I'll have a separate notebook just to like scribble in and
get out the
shapes
creative
and,
shapes. Back in business.
How did you cope with past grief, and how do you cope now?
Not very well. I feel like my tendency, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the common answer to that question.
Yeah. I was raised and I was just taught to, if you don't react, to grief, like you're handling it good, you're handling it right,
Yeah.
So like when something tragic happens, just stay the course, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
But I think I try to process, but that's something that I'm working on, you know what I mean? Like after you see enough tragic things, you realize that you do have to like process that. You know what I mean? You can't just power through everything all the time. Like I was in Corvallis Friday, and it brought up like the last time that I was in Corvallis was for a friend's service. So like it brought up all these emotions, and I was like feeling everything like while I was at work. I'm like, this is completely inappropriate. I do have to, like at this moment, I do have to set this aside. But if I had processed the grief at the funeral like I should have, you know what I mean, instead of sitting there stoic, I wouldn't have had to repress that, in a situation where I needed to be professional.
Absolutely.
I mean? So not very well is the short full answer.
And you're still working on like processing grief now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I it's a work in progress. I recognize that like suppressing isn't sustainable.
Mm-hmm. That's
Uh,
good.
that's about where I'm at.
Okay.
Full honesty.
Good. No, it's a good place to be in, you know?
Yeah.
I think that just having the awareness of something is like the first step to, changing,
Right.
evolving. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, when you're not creating, who are you?
When I'm not creating, who am I? I don't know if there's ever a time like
So you don't have you don't like you're sitting there making your art or whatever, and you're not like, even if you like shove it aside and you're like, all right, I'm just gonna chill. Your mind is still
if I have a
working.
3-hour drive and I'm like I have my camera in the car,
Okay.
it's a 8-hour drive. It's a 5-hour drive easily because I'm stopping to take pictures. I'm just
wow. Okay.
yeah. So I'll take So if I have to be somewhere, I'll put my camera in the back
Yeah.
and just beeline. But like the whole time I'm driving home, I'm like, should I stop? Nope, don't stop. We gotta go. We gotta be somewhere.
Wow.
At a certain time. I can't stop. I'm like fighting the urge to like stop and take pictures or videos.
That's really interesting. Yeah, you're actually the first person I've sat down with who's like, like your median is the camera itself.
If I get out to take a picture, I'm easily like out there for 2 hours getting a time lapse or like
That's incredible.
setting up the shot. I'm like, well, if I wait here 2 more hours, it'll be sunset, and then I'm like still 3 hours, 2 hours away from my destination.
Yeah.
And it'll happen 3 other times, and it's I have to either plan for that or plan to like suppress the urge to take photos on my drive.
Okay.
When I'm not creating, I guess
Yeah. Let me.
with my actual medium, like photography,
Yeah.
I like making music. I like reading philosophy and old like
Yeah.
books, old texts, trying to learn about the world and stuff, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. That's kind of, I guess, what I was interested in.
Oh, okay, cool. I
Yeah.
guess I interpreted the question like general creativity, but like my
Oh.
medium.
Sorry, I'm so distracted. It's such a gorgeous day.
So nice.
And I
Dude.
love the color of that building behind us.
The red building.
Yeah, that maroon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not a bad space. Like Southeast, has its drawbacks. We all know them. We're on the border. Like you go a few miles that way on Foster, and it's the woods.
What are you reading right now?
Reading The Art of War finally. I'm really excited to read The Art of War because I read the Tao Te Ching like 100 times last year. Because like I just obsessed over.
Wow.
If you don't know it, it's like a book of poetry, and it's like supposed to be the art of the way, and like how to govern and how to lead and how to be in a society and how to anyways.
That's cool.
I read it so many times because I couldn't figure out like how I can be one with the way and like be present in life while still being a motivated person.
Is the way just like spiritual essence, like the flow of reality, or what is that?
The way is the Tao Te Ching is like translated the art of the way,
Right.
but it's like the Tao it explains the Tao, so it's something unobtainable that you're always trying to reach and understand and embody.
Okay.
But if you like think the Tao, you don't, and it's like, but it talks about living like a river, it doesn't designate its own path. It flows least resistance down the mountain. Talking about dichotomies that help represent the Tao. It's hard to conceptualize, and I mean, I feel like the Tao Te Ching does a good job of like narrowing it down, talking about like how a leader, when the work is done, it's like people will say, oh wow, we did this, and the leader just like has no part, like it's led through on forceful ways. If I embody the Tao and don't have influence over my actions, or like I try to like be with the way and not resist, how can I also take charge in my life? And it was bothering me the whole last year when I was reading this, trying to figure out how to do that, you know, like it just pissed me off.
So I guess like a simpler example would be like you wake up and start your day and you're like you have to take that initiative to actually begin the day.
Right.
So like how do you go with the flow if you have to participate in the flow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then is my intuitiveness, is my like entrepreneurial spirit part of the flow?
Yeah.
And am I like, is my motivation like part of that picture? Like me, you know, stepping in and making money and you know, trying to improve my life. Is that me being one with the Tao because I'm motivated and I'm part of the universe? So it was a whole thing. And now the
Yeah.
art of war is kind of the next step for me, I guess. Diction Uno actually recommended it to me.
The Art of War.
Shout out.
What's that one about?
That's war strategy as it relates to the Tao. So they talk about
Okay.
like exhaust their resources,
Hmm.
and then you attack when their resources are depleted. Type, you know. So it's like
Wow. I mean,
it's like kind of a different perspective, but I feel like it's adding to that.
well, I'm curious how you would apply that to this reality, the art of war, to
Yeah, we're still
day
learning,
to
but
day.
I feel like we're always in a war. Like, you know, like business is a war. I think a lot of like successful business owners credit the art of war to their strategy and development,
Wow.
because
Okay.
it's like, you know, waiting for, you know, somebody to give you more information, and like kind of sitting back in a business scenario, and they're, you know, forceful, they're, you know, gonna grind it out, and you're letting them like talk and tell you information, and then at some point you like use that information and apply it to the situation and like use it to leverage results in business. It's similar to a general going and telling his troops where to be, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's, I don't know,
That's cool. It's fascinating. I
still learning, like, and I don't think I'll ever like fully understand this stuff, but it is a interest of mine, you know.
It's very interesting. I haven't read either of those books. Maybe I should.
It's been good for me.
Okay. When you feel invisible, how does it feel to be witnessed? And how do you carry that feeling forward to witness others?
Like, I just learned to press on through that, you know what I mean? I feel like that's a lot of things in my life, is I won't express what's going on with me on an emotional level, but when somebody like sees through that, usually somebody who's experienced some sort of trauma, or you know, life challenges or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
uh, and somebody kind of goes, "Hey, have you?" You know, they'll shoot. Even just like verbalizing this is not normal,
Okay.
but it's like when somebody sees through that lens of, somebody sees through that, and they call you and they say, uh what are you going through right now, like how you, like they ask how you're feeling about something, they see through your mask of strength,
Yeah.
and they go, you know, they'll call you on it, and ask about something like that. That's huge, you know, especially for somebody with a mask on of everything's all good all the time, and that feels good, and I try to do that for other people too, but it's hard.
And you're one of those people who like I'm curious. So like someone sees through the mask, do you then let them in, or is it just enough comfort for you to be witnessed?
Trying to let people in on that level a little bit more,
Cool.
and like with the grief, it's a
Yeah.
work in progress,
Yeah. It is hard work.
because you see somebody like calling out like, oh, Do you feel this type of way? Is this some sort of trauma? Is this a boundary for you? And it kind of feels like they're calling out a weakness.
Sure.
Like, I'm not weak. I don't feel that way. You know what I mean? So like that's obviously unhealthy. So unwrapping that and just being grateful that somebody was took their time out of their day and their energy to like recognize something and reach out in that way. That's huge.
That's awesome. Well, this is how we heal. Just gradual steps, try to like soften and let people in. Yeah. You said it was difficult just to like answer the question, but you did.
Yeah,
That's progress, man.
definitely. And being on camera while doing it.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing though, and I think it should happen more because these
Yeah.
kind of conversations between two homies is one thing, but like putting it out there on the web, somebody's gonna see this and go, "Shit, I feel the same way," and
Yeah, exactly.
bam, that's how we heal.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's I'm an open book, but not everyone is, Not everyone's gonna relate to Daddy Magic, but maybe they'll see your episode and think like, I'm right here with this guy.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So it's good. What is one thing you hope people will learn from you as an artist?
Ooh, that there's no finish line. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
shit, you're gonna die and stuff's gonna be unfinished. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna finish everything, no matter how it happens, man. You could be 137, and you're still gonna have like laundry not done. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like it's uh,
On your
it,
deathbed, like, oh, I forgot to fold my clothes.
my great aunt had a heart attack last year, and my other aunt was pulling the car around, and when she comes back in the house to go grab her, she was like nowhere to be found. She was finishing the laundry, wanted to come home from the hospital from having a heart attack to clean laundry.
Wow, man.
But it goes like it got me thinking, like, what if that was it?
Yeah.
What if that was it for her? Like the laundry would have been half done. And then like, take that into creative endeavors, into business, into I want to have a savings account with this amount of money in it and driving this car. It's like your gas tank's going to be half empty in whatever car you're driving, whether it's an Accord or a Lambo. There's you're never like at a finish line point, you know what I mean, when you die.
Yeah.
And so, embracing every moment and trying to make the most out of it, man. There's been times that it should have been my finish line, dude. And like my laundry wasn't the only thing unfinished, like I hadn't healed, I hadn't helped enough people, like I hadn't created enough,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And I let some things win that shouldn't have win, addiction and bad avenues to try to deal with that stuff. So like, no matter what you do in your life to try to compensate for stuff and whatever, like you're never going to be done. So don't go about your day like you're going to be able to finish anything. I don't know if that is a bad thing for some people, or like the way I look at it is good.
I think it's pretty realistic. Yeah, because that is a weird thought. Like, if you like get like a health scare or almost die doing whatever. I've never been in that position, but it makes sense that you'd want to go home and be like, I gotta finish the laundry. I gotta finish, that new season of that show I don't really like. Just
Yeah.
You just want to keep living.
Yeah.
And keep doing things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if there's no finish line for anything, then you could also say you shouldn't put off the start line.
That part. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just because you could have a heart attack and drop dead at any point doesn't mean you shouldn't start that laundry.
Right. Right.
I mean, use that as a metaphor, like start writing that song.
You're alive right now.
Right.
You don't know when you're gonna be die.
You don't know what's gonna happen when you die.
Yeah, exactly. So
Could be better.
So do the laundry.
So do your fucking laundry.
This concept only applies to household chores.
Brought to you by Tide.
Yeah, Nice. Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, man. It's I don't know. Just live every moment because it could be your last, or it could be the first beginning to a really dope era in your life. You know what I mean? You just gotta take life by the reins. I don't know. That's
By the brains.
By the brains.
Is that what you said?
No, but that's what I should have said.
Okay. All right. I don't know where you're at with the King Laz stuff, but I feel like I'm in a pretty good place about it. But yeah, that's one thing that really hit me was like, all the unfinished laundry.
Yeah.
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 So weird.
We had an interview like a month before it happened, man. And like maybe not a month, maybe a couple months, but not a long amount of time before, he left us. And
yeah,
it's still in my unlisted YouTube videos. It's unfinished laundry, dog.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's
yeah, man.
It's
weird.
I hear you though.
What are you hoping to gain from this journey?
From life's journey?
Yeah.
Man, I hope I erase some generational trauma and patterns. I hope I help some folks along the way not take their life too seriously. I hope I can be an example of somebody who tries to have fun with life and not, think I'm somebody that I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just, I hope somebody sees me dancing first at a show or event and goes, that looks like fun. And like, that's a metaphor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hope somebody hears a song that I make and goes, he definitely have fun with that. Like, I should have more fun with my art. I don't know.
Think you do.
Yeah.
At least when I think of Tone, I think, businessman, artist, general clown.
Good. I mean, I
I call myself a sacred clown. I don't see it as a negative.
Man, having fun is a huge part of life. And if you're blessed enough that you can have fun, I mean, I think it's a privilege that I can have fun with my life.
Mm-hmm. One thing I like about you is like, so I saw you at the thesis recently. You weren't there for very long, right? You just poked in. Like, were you in the neighborhood or?
No, I just had to support the thesis. I got off a 10-hour shoot that day, went and showered, and like, I knew I had an hour in me, but I had to get up at, I think it was like 6:00 the next morning for another shoot. And
wow.
It was just like, so it was like, I definitely have to pull up and support, but yeah.
That's really cool. That's something I kind of struggled with until recently. Like, I went to an event and I really wasn't having any fun at all. So I just got up and left. I didn't really talk with anyone. I was only there for like half an hour.
Sure.
But in the past, I've kind of felt like, oh, well, I'm here. I felt obligated to stay, I guess, despite my discomfort.
No, yeah, you don't have to do anything.
No, you don't. Yeah.
I'm glad you realized that, because that's something that I've been trying to figure out too. Because the FOMO has another side of it where you're like, I feel like people will miss my presence at a thing if I don't go, or I feel like I should support, and if I don't go to something, I'm not supportive. But like, nah. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not having fun, leave. You know what I mean? If you're tired, leave. It doesn't mean it's a bad event.
Right.
I've been at the dopest hip hop shows, and I've been at a club standing in the middle of the dance floor. Everybody's turned up, and I'm going, nah, this is where my mind is today. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not turning up. I'm gonna go home and watch Bob's Burgers and get a McFlurry. Holy shit, where am I? I am not here energetically. Everybody's turned up, taking shots, and I'm like, you feel like a shadow. But it's important to be uncomfortable sometimes.
It is. I saw I think it was that Mount Everest magnet on your fridge.
Yeah.
There was two things. There was like that card. It said, "Life begins outside of your comfort zone," but then there was one underneath, and it was like,
Everybody on Mount Everest was once a highly motivated individual.
yeah,
Everybody that died on Mount Everest was
yes, yeah. So chill out,
chill.
like step out of your comfort zone, but chill out a little bit.
Don't climb Mount Everest.
Don't climb a mountain. Yeah.
Nobody needs to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
I think that's one of like the marks of a successful individual. Like I climbed the highest mountain in the world. It's like, nah, like that's a waste of time.
Yeah,
there's a reason there's no oxygen up there.
Right.
Don't go there. Stay here. We got restaurants and shit down here.
If I'm matter of fact that you said that, because that's some people's lifelong dreams, and you're just like,
Nah,
there's no point.
don't do it. Stay down where there's oxygen and
right.
and cars.
Yeah. And it's so cold up there.
It's really cold. It's too cold. It's like people want to go to the moon. It's a rock.
Yeah.
And Mars, give me a break. It's red. And it's dust. And it's...
Yeah.
Hey, grow some potatoes up there, Matt Damon.
It's uninhabitable.
It's... Yeah, for a reason. Why are we going there?
Space itself, man. Just the vacuum of space. It's terrifying. So...
It is. Don't go to space.
I'd rather be terrified here where I can still breathe the air.
Right. And go inside.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being in space and like you're in a, maybe it's as big as the house, but like you're just there with somebody, and what if you don't like them?
Yeah. Oh, and they're like, I don't know if this is true. I'm just kind of pulling this out of thin air, but I feel like if you're an astronaut in space, it's like you're always on shift.
Right.
Like you could be like, I don't know, enjoying your downtime, but then something could go horribly wrong, and then you'd have to, like, you can't like get stoned in space,
There's no relaxing in space.
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
You're always at work too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't go home and like not be in space.
These are some extreme examples, by the way. Like,
what were we talking about?
Stepping out of your comfort zone.
Don't climb mountains and don't go to space, but show up at a show for 10 minutes.
Yeah. If you're like kind of, I don't really want to go out, but I kind of want to see people, then you should probably go out and see them. But you don't have to stay the whole time,
Yeah, or FaceTime somebody. Like
true.
Take small little steps.
That's a good idea. FaceTime someone at the show, be like, what's the vibe? How is it?
Yeah. Or just, an old friend. I don't know. I feel like small little bits of socializing.
Yeah.
And getting out of that. Because, depression in all of its pain is comfort. You know what I mean? Like when you're in that state, it's relaxing, it's comfortable, it's and beating depression means being extremely uncomfortable over and over again.
Oh, tell me about it.
You know what I mean? And
I do. Yeah.
You could live your life recluse and catering to your comfort zone, and like that's a hard pill to swallow. It sounds like I might be being insensitive, but like if you want to beat this stuff, you got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, I mean that's just true. Spent the last decade deeply uncomfortable.
Right.
But now I'm pretty fucking happy, actually. So yeah. Oh, thanks, man.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah.
That's sick.
It's been a lot of hard, terrifying, uncomfortable work.
Yeah. And it's never stopping. Like,
no, it really doesn't
always
ever
there.
Stop.
I mean?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm at a good place with my sex trauma, but then of course my feet give out and I have to get surgical trauma to fix the trauma, and
you can fix the trauma that you're dealing with, but it's like really the work to be done is to strengthen your resolve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
And I didn't even think of the surgery as trauma, but my doctors and everyone was like, no, that's trauma. And I was like, oh, okay.
100%, dude.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Just, oh, God,
Do you feel like, I mean, you don't have to answer this, but do you feel like not having the mobility was trauma as well? Like, I feel like
oh,
that could be
yeah.
huge.
That's one thing I don't really talk about. And
Yeah.
people don't even think to ask about it. Like, yeah, the muscles in my feet atrophied and ruptured, and I, you know, couldn't really walk. I had to quit driving myself everywhere. And I found myself like, so my bed is in like the corner of my room, and I found myself just kind of surrounding myself with bullshit, almost to like box myself in, and that was like a way to create safety.
Right.
It was weird. I felt almost like an animal. Like,
I could see that, man. That
yeah,
sucks. I'm glad you're not in that anymore, but it's like,
yeah,
I could just see like where, in a way, your like mobility, like we praise mobility. Like when you get your license for the first time, it's like, this is the best. You're becoming an adult. You know what I mean?
yeah. It
And
opens
it's,
up your world. Yeah,
you know, you're moving out of your paradise. You're moving, and it's like everything, like every progression means movement, and it's like,
yeah.
so you know, that would suck to not have mobility for a long time. I mean, I don't mean to bring that up, but it's just
That's fine. It's part of my
part of
reality. Physically immobile, but I did a lot of emotional healing in that time. A lot of emotional movement. So this is a new question. So new, it's not even written down here. I'm just staring at a blank page. Um, when you feel like you've resolved something that's been holding you back, where do you feel that sensation physically in your body?
yeah, yeah. I guess so. I hadn't considered that, but yeah, man. I think fighting through something there is a physical reaction. I feel like holding back something creative, I guess, would be it's kind of tightens you up, like physically, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you drop it and you just say screw it, the world's gonna see it now, you know.
Yeah.
Michelangelo, I think one of the Ninja Turtles, was it Leonardo or Michelangelo, one of those artists from like the 1700s or whatever, that's named after a turtle, or the turtle was named after him. He
Right.
said this,
Right.
sorry, the quote is, art is never truly finished, it's abandoned. Put it out at some point and like move on and learn what you did for the next piece or, you know, endeavor you're in. But yeah, when I put it out, it's relieving. You know, when I fight, every time I put something out, it's like you feel like you're putting out your feelings, your emotions, your, you know, embodiment. Like when I was doing the kind of the most recent music video I did was when I lost a friend and like living, you know, paycheck to paycheck, if you will. Like it was a rough time. So putting that out felt like I was putting out all the worth and, you know, stuff that I went through during that. So I guess it is
Yeah.
dopamine and relieving for that sense.
Yeah. Cool. You mind if I ask who this person was to you?
To me,
Yeah.
Sammy was an old friend, and we started businesses together.
Hmm.
We had a virtual reality thing going on during the pandemic, which would like put on an Oculus machine and attend the virtual event at the physical event,
Oh,
or be like hundreds of miles away in different states. We have people putting on the Oculus machine, attending a DJ event where I think it was DJ Aspen, Arab, and Bremer Baden performing, like at the event with the Oculus version of that projected. So it was like a cool little thing. Anyways, that's who he was.
That's a really brilliant idea, you know, like
It was, man.
I have to get my left foot surgically repaired. probably in August.
Mm.
But if I could like just put on some goggles and be at a show, ugh,
Yeah. No,
love
especially
that.
during the pandemic, it was. I mean, we had a lot of cool things going on with that, you know. And when the NFTs were popular, we were going through that with my photos, making them little NFTs. But it's, you know, you know how those things go. You
I prefer
experiment.
just F's. If you heard of that?
Fungible.
No, just I guess the joke doesn't work. Wait,
What F in NFT stands for fungible.
oh fuck.
I
I
don't
was
know
gonna
what.
say I just prefer F for fudge.
Yeah.
The joke doesn't work though. I ruined it.
Well, fudge is great.
It is.
Just strong. It's fudge is like
It's rich,
it's rich,
heavy.
rich and heavy. Yeah. I feel like I just eat a square fudge. That's
A squirt of
a
fudge.
square, dude.
Oh, I think you said like if I could just get a squirt of fudge. It's like
that would
a
be sick,
thick,
dude.
like
Now you know what it's like to be on the Vendor Besties podcast, man. We'll just derail the shit out of every episode. Literally have 2 hours and like I'll edit to 10 minutes, and that's what you see.
well, hey, you know that's good stuff. I listen to a lot of true crime,
Yeah,
like the blend of comedy with true crime.
I didn't know that existed.
Oh yeah, my favorite murder. You know, last podcast on the left. They, you know, will tell you the story of crime, but then they'll make fun of the criminal who committed the crime. You know?
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I dig it.
yeah, it's great.
Cool.
Highly debated topic. You know, like the ethics of it, but
No, I think it's great. We should roast fucked up people.
I agree. That's where people kind of get confused. They're like, "How can you make jokes about a murder victim?" It's like, well, we're not.
You're
We're
making them
roasting.
feel bad about being a murderer. I love that.
Yeah, it's not cool to be a murderer.
No.
Yeah.
So, nerd alert. When Dave Chappelle came out with the closer, everybody was all up in arms, as they should be, because there was a lot of messed up things. But
Sure.
it brought up a topic that people were like, "This isn't comedy," and I'm like, well, if somebody said this isn't comedy, then there has to be comedy. Like there has to be a definition for comedy. Comedy is a Socratic idea. In Socrates' times, somebody would in the town hall roast members of the town acting in such a way that was against the common expected way of acting. So a representative, a comedian would get up and say, "Oh, you know, I don't know what a name back then would be, but like John is you know, sleeping with his neighbor's wife. Oh, what a jerk." You know, like
Yeah.
and
right,
and you know, John would feel bad because he's publicly shamed. And
Sure.
that is the original like comedy. That's where they got the name comedy.
Like, what's the deal with Socrates? Always philosophizing. What a dork.
That was the original comedy. So I think your murder podcast is right on par with that, man.
There's a great episode. I don't know if you're even interested of last podcast on the left. It's about Carl Panzram, infamous serial killer, rapist, from like the 20s. But he was highly intelligent and he journaled everything his entire life, all his crimes and stuff. And they like do a narration in like
Of the journal?
of the journal, yeah, right.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's just the way they talk about this very evil man. They make it so fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like,
How could you take the journal of a 1920s rapist and murderer and make it funny? I'm interested in that.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're a fan of the show, you will agree that that's one of the funniest episodes.
I'm interested. I'm thoroughly like intrigued by the.
You know, it's like stepping out of your comfort zone, but it's not like a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Bringing it back. I love it.
Yeah, man, you gotta tie them in.
Tie it in.
How do you experience God?
Great question. Right now I consider myself an omnitheist, which I thought I had made up, but it's basically a term for people who see validity in every world religion and spiritual thing, but don't necessarily subscribe to any specific dogma.
Yeah.
So I was raised Catholic, like Roman Catholic, Catholic,
Oh,
like
wow.
incense and robes and Gregorian chants,
Really?
Catholic.
Whoa.
And it was beautiful.
Huh.
You know, a lot to say about that church, but I was very blessed to have like a moral compass as a kid, and like it was really, it was. I mean, I have my quos with organized religion, but like it definitely gave me a perspective on God. So I guess like anymore, I've learned that other religions exist. And other like spiritual guidance, and a lot of the differences have to do with language and culture. So
Yeah.
like a lot of the things are religions are describing the same things in different ways, and so I just kind of experience God in nature, and connection with other humans. I think we're all made of the same stuff, and we're all just existing in a microcosm of the world, and it's like we're just a little blip in the universe. So like the way we look at atoms, somebody's looking at us. Something is We're just a small thing, and a lot of bigger things, and there's smaller things within the big things that we see, and it's, I don't know, zoom out. That's how I experience
Okay. I mean, I understand what you're saying. So
God. I didn't want to rant too much.
that's the whole point of a podcast, man.
We could have a whole podcast on how you experience God.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
like it's connecting, realizing that we're all one. I think that's God.
omnitheist.
Omnitheist.
Yeah, I so that's interesting. I've just been calling myself a mystic, but I guess that's what it is.
It's very similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's terminology, which is what I try to step away from, because it's like I have a Christian friend, and bless his heart, he's always trying to get me to go to church with him.
Ugh.
And I hear him out.
Ugh.
I hear him out. I think it's great that he has God, and he thinks that God is a one powerful thing, and Christianity is the one true religion. And I ask him. He asked me why I don't want to go to church, because he sees that I'm spiritual, and I have an open mind, and I don't judge him for wanting to be Christian, and he doesn't judge me for not wanting to. So that's why we have a working relationship. But yeah. I tell him, I said, explain to me why a Muslim, who is the best Muslim there can be, and he's following all the dogma of Islam, and he's the best, that he's doing everything right in Islam, and there's a Christian that's doing everything right in Christianity, and he's the best Christian that you could be. And a Christian will look at this Muslim, who's the best Muslim, doing all the right things, praying 5 times a day, everything, Ramadan, and a Christian who's doing all the right things, church on Sunday, whatever. The Christian will look at the Muslim and go, hey, you're going to hell because you haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And the Muslim will look at the Christian and go, you haven't accepted Allah as the number one prophet, or what, and they're gonna like say that the Christian's going to hell and Muslim's going to hell because they're not doing the religion that they think is the right one. But it's like, maybe the Muslim never been exposed to Christianity, or maybe he has been exposed to Christianity and rejected it because that's the right thing to do as a Muslim.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can't say that the Muslim's doing nothing wrong. He's the best Muslim. So if you can tell me why that Muslim is going to go to hell because he hasn't accepted Jesus Christ, but he's doing everything right in his religion, I will convert that day.
Sure.
But nobody has been able to give me an answer. So
yeah,
here I am, omnitheistic.
yeah. I guess I kind of view going to church like climbing Mount Everest. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just not for me.
exactly. It's what's the point? It's cold. Showing up late to church every Sunday and like just the whole church. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And it's like,
you're tardy for God.
you're here, but you're late. Oh,
Hi.
hi, Obi.
Oh,
We're
who's
filming
this?
a podcast.
You said you experienced God in nature.
Yeah.
It's
Now,
especially true for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I think if you stare at like a sunset long enough,
You'll go blind.
yeah.
Sorry. Continue.
If you stare at a mountain long enough, you'll want to climb it.
Well, there's
No.
also snow blindness.
Because it reflects.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Do you ever take that as like a sign? You ever think about signs?
I do all the time. Yeah. I wholeheartedly follow my intuition, and it's never led me astray. So,
Love that.
yeah,
Working on that. I think like we're energy, right? Like
Yeah.
our souls are energy, and right now we're keeping our meat tractor in the same, you know, the same form, and that's our soul. You know what I mean? Like we're so when there's a breeze and it's in stillness, sometimes it feels like an energy is flowing through you.
yeah, totally.
You know, you take it as a sign that you're on the right path, or like it can be ominous. So maybe you're like off balance a little bit. You know, you need to go with the Tao.
Oh, nice. Bringing it all the way back around.
Yeah, you know, I love that mountain analogy coming back, and then the Tao.
I've never heard anyone refer to the human body as the meat tractor. Yeah.
I think it's his Instagram is Rusty Eyeball, but
Mm.
like, you know, that guy talks about like panic attacks and like how to deal with it and like what it means for your mind. But he talks about your brain as a meat computer
Yeah.
and your body as a meat tractor. Like he's kind of irreverent, you know what I mean? Like you could tell he's been through some shit and just like has figured it out, and this is his way to like express and share with the world what he's learned.
Kind of eccentric language.
Yeah. I think I relate to it. I think it's fun to like
I commonly hear like, the vessel, like the vessel that I'm in,
the vessel.
not the meat.
Yeah, it is kind of irreverent, but it's like if you think about it, we're like, you know,
But it's true. It's accurate.
bodies are just vessels. I like vessels. It's in the wind. It's in ocean, barnacles and shit. Like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My body is a vessel.
I mean, how many trillions of microscopic entities are crawling all over us right now,
Yeah,
God is everything, and that includes,
nasty shit.
yeah, gross.
Gross
Yeah.
stuff. It's all part of the universe and the way we're doing shit.
Cool.
Can that be the soundbite?
Yeah, man. I'll include that in season 2's trailer. Okay, this has been How We Heal, turning pain into power. I'm your host, Daddy Magic,
I'm tone deaf.
and this is Tone Deaf. Your apps, your socials.
Yeah, Tone Deaf Enterprises on Instagram. It's tonedeaf.enterprises. That's my website. You can find like all my music and
Hell yeah.
the in-depth portfolio and all that. That's where I usually send people. And if you want to book a shoot, it's a place to do that too.
Fucking A. Cool, man.
I don't know. Some jokes don't hit.
This is
it felt weird kind of like being vulnerable on a camera. But like I also feel like why did we go through all this shit if we're just gonna like hold it in and not talk about it, you know what I mean?
yeah, man, share the knowledge. What are you doing?
You're always gonna have laundry at the end of the day.
Ah, man, it always comes back to the fucking laundry, dude.
You know, you going and like showcasing everybody's story and like collaborating. That's something I've never seen.
Yeah, well, it's been fun.
Commend you for that, man.
How come it's difficult for you to be vulnerable with people and on camera?
Maybe I wasn't even raised this way. Maybe I raised myself this way. Maybe I just told myself that I had to be strong to like, I don't know. But it's being vulnerable is so unnatural for me. You know what I mean?
No.
No? Oh.
No, I mean, I get it. It took some like extreme points for me to kind of break through that fear of being vulnerable. So
I feel like I've done it in spurts, but it's, you feel like if you show a weakness or you show something like about yourself that you haven't shared with somebody because you're not proud of it or you're not, you know, doesn't feel like your best moment, you you might come across in a certain way. I always feel like people won't like want to work, or like
interesting.
won't trust my brand. But in reality, it's like, do I want to work with people who will see a podcast of me talking about something that happened 10 years ago or like even 10 minutes ago and go, man, this guy is not stable, or he's not, like he's not a person to be trusted because, at some point he was doing drugs and drinking.
This human being has feelings and he's talking about them?
Right. Like to say it out loud sounds so stupid that it must be wrong.
Sure.
No,
I mean, well, that's interesting. I mean, obviously I'm not coming from that perspective. I don't have a business that I'm running. But yeah, I don't know. For me, my whole life seems to just be about healing, helping others to start their healing path. You were at Anthony's funeral, yeah. Mm-hmm. One thing I noticed is like even in that setting, when it should be acceptable to like grieve openly, a lot of people weren't. Like they even still were like kind of fighting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a moment where I broke. I had left the building and just like wept in the parking lot.
I remember.
But then a few weeks later, someone who was like comforting me in that moment kind of was like, okay, well, the funeral's over, so, get over it.
Somebody said that to you?
Yeah.
Point blank?
Well, it was online, but I just wanted to talk about it, and they were like, that moment's over. So.
That's wild. Nobody's ever said that to me, but I fear that somebody would say that to me so I don't get vulnerable. And so that's wild to hear that actually happened to you, and I'm so sorry, man.
It does happen, yeah. I think life is better when you're able to just feel your feelings in the moment you need to feel them,
It's kind of, okay, hear me out. This is going to sound like super wishy-washy, whatever, but like, it's kind of more vulnerable to be closed off.
Explain.
Back to the art of war, you know what I mean? Like, if you're constantly fighting back, revealing your emotions, you're like damn volcano.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're constantly fighting back those. I mean, I am. I'm not like you. I say you when you're, but like for me, somebody like me who's closed off, I'm constantly fighting back feeling stuff. So like when I was at that job and I had felt that emotion, I had to hold it back. But if I had expressed it in such a way that was like appropriate, which I had to cry 48 hours after that when I was alone and could, and like if I had just consistently done that when I feel things, I would be a stronger person when it comes to those points when it's not appropriate to show your emotions. You know what I mean? Or in a business deal, I wouldn't be like out of pressure in my mind of holding that stuff back. I would be ready to attack things clearly instead of having like the pressure and anxiety of holding back whatever I'm feeling. That's kind of a breakthrough for me. Like feeling vulnerable feels weak, but like that's kind of badass. Just being like, that's how I feel about some shit.
So you say being closed off is being vulnerable.
Yeah, to attack from your mind.
Okay. I don't think I'm understanding.
This is like if it, like being closed off takes a lot of work, and as much as people who are closed off like to put a front of like everything's all good,
Yeah.
that's it's hard fucking work sitting there every day not being bothered by shit. You know?
Yeah, but is it worth it?
No.
No.
No, that's I think what I'm trying to get at. It's
Okay.
It's like at the end of the day, like if you are vulnerable and you know express your emotions to friends and trusted people in trusted ways and appropriate methods and
Right.
and you know get all that out, you're taking that weight off your back emotionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're taking that monkey off your back, so to speak. So
Right.
if you're holding back all the time, like all your energy is expended in keeping a facade of being cool, when in reality, like you're not ready for what you're about to do because all your energy has been spent trying to pretend like it's all good.
Yeah, and that is exhausting. Yeah, moments, like better moments to feel your feelings, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But
like on a job is not one of them.
no, definitely not.
With people who don't care about you is another one. You know, like it's
yeah,
people are vampires and they will like
yeah.
me being afraid of people, you know, judging me is valid because there are people who will.
Yes. yes.
You know what I mean?
But you shouldn't not feel any feelings because those people are out there, you know? Yeah.
Because they will feel that way about me being good too. Ooh. You dig? Like if I'm happy all the time, the people who will judge me for being sad or vulnerable are gonna judge me for being happy too. Why is this motherfucker laughing? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a weird part of existing, I think.
yeah.
I'm just trying to be able to be however I feel. Like there's a great Gambino lyric I love. It's actually his son who says it. He says, when you're with me, you're whoever you are. I think that's gorgeous.
Ooh.
And there's just no pressure or expectation to like fit into a certain mold, you know. But I also feel like it is important to make that space, like to be able to create that space for someone. Like if you needed to cry right now, it wouldn't be like a big deal. We could go there and you could feel your feelings and then we could come back, you know, to whatever we were doing. Like
I would trust you to cry around. I don't know if I ever could. I don't cry around people really. But I think you would be one person that I could.
I'll make you cry. Yeah, no, thank you, man. Yeah.
Like when I cry, like the more I cry, the more I cry. Like it.
That's, I think, because you don't do it very often, right?
Yeah.
So
when I do it, like it gets more comfortable and I'm crying more. Like I cried for like more than a minute the other day. And it was great.
Those are the weirdest cries when it's kind of just like a quick burst of like sadness and then you're like, huh.
No, it feels great.
Yeah.
It's like emptying a freaking flooded boat. You're just like, oh, this
Yeah.
I don't have to feel like I'm dredging the water all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like around Anthony's passing, that was when I couldn't cry at all. And I think that was like the first time that I was like, holy shit. I was talking to a friend and she was like, you should cry. Like I could tell that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't. Like I literally, I don't know. I've suppressed the way that you do that. You know what I mean? Like it's like
I do. Yeah.
somebody's like, ride a bike and you never ridden a bike before, or you rid a bike once and now you haven't for 20 years. You're not gonna know how to ride a bike.
I've had a friend tell me that it is indeed a skill, you know, being able to
So when
to
Anthony
let those feelings out. Yeah.
when Anthony passed, I was like, could do this. Like that's about it. That's as much crying as I could do. And then now, you know, I went a minute. And that's a good amount of time to cry. like, but after a minute, you're like, what am I doing? And it stops. I'm like, no shit, I should.
Wow, man, that's wild.
Kept crying. I should have
You're
kept
like
that going.
taking notes. You're like,
I'm like timing it.
yeah, yeah.
Shit. 60 seconds. Okay. That's a record.
That's a new record.
But seriously, that's how it is. But like each time I cry, I'm like, well, how did I do that? You know what I mean? Like seriously, it's like how did that start? Like what do I need to feel? Do I need to like meditate to cry, or like when it's supposed to be like when I want to cry, like what is that like? When I was taking pictures at the job, you know what I mean? Like it was a college graduation, and like for some reason just randomly hit me. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is obviously, if I started crying right now, it'd be really fucking weird.
Well, yeah, it would have been. But I think like if you were in the habit of crying, like when it's appropriate or like in private, then those moments aren't going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to happen less because you're solid, you know, you've felt the feelings on your own time. Yeah. So they're not trying to like get out all the time.
No, for real.
Yeah.
But I did end up crying a couple days ago. It was like for a minute. It was good. I'm proud of myself for crying for a minute. That was good.
I'm happy for you. That's progress.
We'll get there.
Yeah, you know, before I became a rapper, I was studying exercise science.
Oh, really?
At PCC, yeah.
Okay.
And while I was studying exercise science, my trauma memories surfaced, but it was just so weird because I linked up with this this woman. She was big on like fitness from like the cellular perspective and like being in touch with your feelings, because it's all connected, you know. And like I used to have really bad IBS to the point where I couldn't really eat anything. Like everything I ate would make me sick, and it wasn't until I started like working on my trauma in therapy that I was able to like start eating again. Feelings are stored in your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're carrying all this like sorrow or rage, it definitely starts affecting you in weird, unexpected ways.
Yeah. Physical
ways.
Yeah, because your body's not able to heal itself because your energy is being allocated to fight or flight stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Man, that's valid. I'm glad you're like past that point in your life that you have to, that with the IBS, man, that sounds like a really, really messed up physical reaction to.
Yeah. It's pretty common actually
I've heard about that.
For survivors to develop digestive issues. But yeah, I'm proud of you for crying for a minute. That's your Mount Everest.
That's my Mount Everest. Yeah, it's actually like a lot less cold.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Did you see that video I made on the Tour de France?
No.
Yeah, right before my surgery, my mom got me into the Tour de France. She was like, this is going to help you mentally while you recover.
Yeah.
Because So I learned in exercise science at PCC that it's actually not healthy for an athlete to like turn their sport into their entire identity. But in the tour, they encourage it. It's like totally on its head, and they like embrace pain and suffering. You kind of have to in that sport,
Right.
if you want to get ahead. But yeah, it really reshaped like how I view pain and suffering. You know, some pain is actually like a privilege because it pushes you to, you know, dig deeper and come out stronger.
But yeah, pain is motivating, I guess.
It can be, yeah.
I commend you for doing that. As yeah, I mean, I guess how do you do that then? I've seen really deep depths of mental anguish.
I think I get what you're saying.
When I see somebody dealing with something that I know is less than what I've dealt with, it's hard for me not to go, grow up. This isn't that big of a deal.
Well, why do you feel the need to say that?
I feel like in my mind it would help them. Right.
There are lesser pains that are still painful, you know? Yeah, no, there are worse pains that you could experience, but I do believe that everyone's pain is valid, and that that's good to know that in you thinking like we'll grow up or get over it, that's coming from a place of you think it'll help them and not you just dismissing their feelings.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Because I've had people tell me to get over things as well. That's not helpful for me.
I think that was a big part of like my upbringing. It's just like, you'll be fine. Oh, you're in pain. Well, there's people in the old adage, like there's people in Africa starving. Like, yeah, it's like it's a stupid thing to say. Like, obviously I'm not in Africa, but it's like it's that same mentality though. It's like, oh, you know, you're sad about this.
Right.
There's real pain in war zones and things, and it's like I'm not in that war zone. I'm here with my dead goldfish, and I'm 7.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And you shouldn't have to be in a life-threatening situation to, you know, be able to process the pain that you're experiencing. I think it's a strength, you know, to be able to stop and analyze why you behave the way you behave. And yeah, some people, it's too scary, you know, to look inwards.
Weak men create hard times create strong men, and it's like a cycle that people talk about. I don't know if I like fully buy into that.
No, I don't. Because you know, yeah, a lot of people think being emotional and vulnerable is a weakness, but it's made me stronger. It's made me more grounded and able to connect with other people and even myself. So
well, I just think like there's also an option where we're evolving. You know what I mean? Like there could be a world, hopefully, in, you know, the next century or two, that there's no war, that there's no, you know, struggles, and everybody has what they need, and, you know, we're just sitting here philosophizing and, you know, telling jokes, and you know, like obviously that's a pipe dream.
I don't think it's a pipe dream. I think I think I'm doing that on a much smaller scale in my own life. Showing people that it's possible to live how you want without pressure or, you know, fear of judgment from like the realists. Could society as a whole get to this point? Yeah, I think maybe. But like you say, it's probably going to be a couple centuries out.
A few generations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My pops will criticize the soft parenting, and, you know, like, you're not making a strong man. It's like, what if everybody wasn't strong and they were like mentally strong and like knew who they were and didn't have to compensate? And it's like,
yeah,
I don't think it's going to be easy for everybody. Like, those people who are, in his words, weak-minded will face challenges and might not be inept, as it's like somebody who was raised in like a military household, like strong-willed
Yeah.
people. But it's like, I think eventually we won't need that mentality of,
I don't think it's needed now.
yeah,
I think it's just hurting us, especially when people want that change. And like for me, not talking about my feelings was killing me, and it got to the point where it's like, well, I can either go to therapy and start talking about this, or I can kill myself, you know. So
I'm glad you made that decision.
yeah, but I don't like what's stronger, just to kill myself because that's what a man would do, not feel his feelings because that's what society says is stronger, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
What's stronger, like deciding to fight for it every day for the rest of your life, or like to just take the one route out? You know what I mean?
Right. Is it stronger to go to therapy and cry in front of a stranger, or is it stronger just to keep your mouth shut and suffer?
Suffer and then like either take it out on yourself or others.
Yeah, and you will, whether
And
you're aware of it or not,
damn,
because that emotion needs to come out in some way.
yeah. And so like the whole adage of like, he's always telling me like, you millennials and Gen Z, like I think a lot of boomers will say this, like,
Yeah.
you're not, you guys are gonna face reality one day. And it's like, I'm 30, like that's a third of my life. Ideally,
Yeah.
I've faced so much reality and like have learned that in a lot of his like, perspectives, the softer I get, the better time I have in life.
Yeah.
I'm not getting softer. Like I'm facing demons head on, which is a fucking brutal thing.
No, it's interesting because well, in healing you do become softer, but it's not a weakness.
No.
So, do you know Chris the Great? We briefly talked about Stoicism and how Stoicism, like, they were able to do all that internal work, and they don't suppress their feelings. And I guess that's what real Stoicism is like knowing when to channel.
Knowing when to fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think like, yeah, you could be strong, stoic, like out in public, but I feel like you should be able to leave that at the door and be soft in private, if you don't want to be soft in public, like whatever, but like if you come home and you still are like fighting to maintain that strength in private, I feel like, yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. But I also think we're still shedding beliefs of like older generations. So
Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's not really one way to do life.
nah, and that's one of the reasons I made the show.
Yeah.
Talk therapy is perfect for me. I know it doesn't work for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the old Buddhist proverb? It's like pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice.
Ooh. If I'm being honest with myself, I'm jealous. Of the kids, of the family, of the lifestyle. And then, you know what? I think they're jealous of me too, that I didn't take the route of this is what you got to do with your life. And at the end of the day, dude, we're all just living.
Yeah.
And I don't got no kids. I work at an elementary school. I impact a lot of kids' lives.
Yeah.
And I got my niece and nephew, dude. I love them. And I love that I can be a part of their life, and I definitely influence them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. Like I've worked real hard, and shout out to my pops for guiding me through that over the course of a long time, just figuring out that there's no fucking way to do life.
Real stories, real people. This is how we heal, by turning our pain into power.
I gotta close it out officially. Great talking to you.
Great talking to you.
Thanks for
man.
having me over.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, y'all.
Goodbye.